Ladies and gentlemen, the correction is continuing. Bitcoin is downwards 12%, altcoins are downwards in some cases 30 or even 40%, believe it or not. And a lot of people are asking the big question, was this actually a bull market? Do we have higher to go? Or was this whole thing just one big trap? Let's get into it.
Guys, before we get into the content today, let's check out a few things. First and foremost, the VIP group on Telegram does altcoin trading signals with a full transparent track record on those trades. Check that out if you're interested. And then we have the BitGet and BingX exchanges. BitGet is global KYC minus the USA, and BingX is global non-KYC. They are both very low in trading fees, and they've both never been hacked before. You can sign up to either of those with my referral link down below for 15% lifetime trading fee discounts. You can save thousands with that. And then finally, the bull market sale is currently active for the Become a Trader 10-unit course, teaching people how to trade in a university structured course. So guys, thank you so much for watching those promotions. Let's get into the content here today. I think that you'd be surprised at just the sheer quantity of people that are actually bearish right now. In my community, which is a bullish community, by the way, because most of my videos are macro bullish. I'm macro bullish right now. I believe the bull market has really just begun. In my community, we have 29% of people in this poll saying that right now we're in a bearish market, or we're seeing a reversal, or this whole move was a trap. Okay, so only 71% of people agree with me. Now, you might be thinking 71% is the majority. It isn't the majority, but I personally, perhaps I'm biased, would expect that number to be a lot higher considering what we've seen. It's very important to note, okay, I understand that Bitcoin's seen a correction of 12%. I understand that altcoins are down pretty heavily right now across the board. Bitcoin dominance is rising, which means that right now, even on this 12% correction, Bitcoin is outperforming altcoins, which means altcoins are going down a lot harder than Bitcoin right now. I understand all that. But what I don't understand is how you can think this move is a trap. I just don't get the argument. And I'm saying that, and it might sound arrogant, but I literally just don't understand what the argument is. Perhaps someone can enlighten me. I've looked very hard. The only argument I can find right now is that the S&P 500 is going to drag down Bitcoin. That's what a lot of bears are saying. I've debunked that argument on many numerous occasions. If you want me to simply do it right now, I'll just get the gist of what my point is. My point is that we never ever have seen the Federal Reserve raising interest rates during a bear market on the S&P. That is a unique characteristic that we have never ever seen before. And so we've never ever seen interest rates be in this position while we're in a bull market. And so as we head into a period of time where the Fed is going to flip, they're going to start cutting interest rates as we flip into that market environment, we will have no idea what's going to happen because we're in completely unique circumstances. The interest rates are one of the most fundamental parts of the market movements, okay? In the past at least. Most of the historical data, which you can pick up on and try and predict S&P 500 price action with, is based on interest rates and inflation. And right now, we're in a completely unique circumstance with both interest rates and inflation. We have no historical data to give us guidance about what was going to happen next because we've never seen this market environment before. So how can you sit here and say that when the Federal Reserve starts cutting interest rates, which, by the way, is still 3.5 months away, how can you sit here and say that that's going to be bearish for the market? We just don't have the historical evidence to suggest that. You're using the prior historical data and ignoring the context and making an argument even though you're ignorant of the fact that the context is very important, right? It's just not a valid argument. The data points are not compatible with one another because there's completely different macro circumstances involved that you're ignoring by making that case. So I want to say that the argument that the S&P 500 is going to drag down Bitcoin, although it may end up being true, it's a weak argument. It's just a weak argument because there's actually no foundation to make an argument like that logically because you can't point to any characteristically similar data points through which to make that argument. So I don't like the argument. I think it's useless, really. I think it's very much a circumstance of we don't know what's going to happen, so we need to stop relying so much on it. And even if it did matter, we have to understand that the markets are future seeing. They move based on the future. They don't move based on the present. If Toyota is releasing a car next month, I'm not going to wait until next month to buy. I'm going to buy now. Okay, so the market is a representation of the future, not of the present. And right now, the market, S&P 500, is representing the future in a pretty bloody bullish manner. Okay, it's breached all-time highs and it's up an additional 10%. It's in one of the sharpest inclines it's seen for years. Okay, so look. The S&P 500 right now is not a concern of mine. If I do see things start to change, I will bring them up. But right now, I think that's a very, very weak bearish argument. And the problem is, here's the problem I'm facing. Other than that, I don't really know what the bear case is. Like, I know that sounds arrogant and ignorant, but I just don't really know how you could be bearish right now. And I'll tell you why. Yeah, we're seeing rejections. Yeah, we're seeing downwards trends, okay? That's so normal. It's so normal, especially in this part of where we are right now. The red lines on the screen are the prior all-time highs. What you'll see is that right now, we have surpassed the prior all-time high. We went upwards, and yes, we rejected from it. We saw 2 separate weekly candles rejecting from the prior all-time high, even though we went above it briefly, and we've gone downwards 12% now. That could be seen as bearish. It is bearish. It's a rejection, okay? Of course, but it's not abnormal. When you look at things, you can't just look at what's happening. You need to look at what's happened before, right, to get an idea of what will happen next. And right now, if we zoom backwards to 2017, which, by the way, is the cycle of which we have the most similarities to right now, we can see that what we did in 2017 is we went to the all-time high, we rejected from it once, okay? We saw a 33% rejection from that level, okay? Then we went upwards again. Again, we went upwards. We went above it significantly for 2 weeks, even more than we just did in this cycle. And then again, for a second time, we saw a 30% correction. And only after 2 attempts of breaking that level properly and 2 30% corrections, only then did we see a breach to the upside. Guys, that took, from the first retest, that took about 100 days to definitively break that level. Right now, how far in are we, right? How long have we been seeing this price action for? 3 weeks? Right, 20 days, and we've only seen a correction of 12%. Not the 30% corrections we saw in the past, not the 100 days of consolidation we saw in the past. No, we've gone downwards for like 20 days, 12%, and people are jumping off the bullish bandwagon, and they're claiming the top is in. I just don't. It actually is unfathomable to me. I don't understand how you can make that argument, especially in the market environment we're in now, guys. It's so normal for Bitcoin to see a correction. You have to remember that Bitcoin has moved faster than expected, okay? Previously, from all-time high to break of that all-time high, it took 1,100 days in the last 2 cycles. This time, it has taken only about 850 days. We've moved upwards about 200 days faster than expected. We're so far ahead of schedule that any significant, you could go downwards for 3 months and it wouldn't throw off the macro structure. I'll tell you right now, the only thing that will have me genuinely concerned about the Bitcoin macro structure and make me sell my bags is breaking below this yellow line. If we break below 49K, we break below that macro level, I will be getting the hell out of the market and running for the hills, right? Why do I say that? I say that because that's the nearest macro support, and it's the cycle-to-cycle macro support level. It's the macro support level that we tested after rejection of the all-time high on the first correction here in 2017, right? It's the macro support level we don't go below. If you go below that level again after breaking it, that's something we've never done before. That's a reason to get out of the market. Right now, we're actually just so far away from that level. But I want to make something very clear. The fact that we're so far away from that level could mean that Bitcoin could have a lot further down to go, and you could be experiencing a lot of blood over the next few weeks. Keyword there is could, right? Right now, if we're looking at short-term analysis, we can see that Bitcoin actually has 3 major levels in the short term. One of them is the all-time high at 73K. One of them is 60K flat, and one of them is 64.5K. What I'm looking at right now majorly is 64.5K. If we lose this level at 64.5K, there is reason to believe that Bitcoin will go downwards further to 60K, okay? As long as we hold this level, Bitcoin is in a pretty good position. But if we lose it, we go down further. Simple as that. It's a level-to-level basis. That's what we're doing here. We're trading level to level. What I will also notice and what I will also recognize is that Bitcoin right now is in a very important position on the weekly chart. Okay, very important to note that, as I said before, we rejected from the prior all-time high on 2 separate weekly candle closes. Okay, look at the closes. This is the prior all-time high in yellow. The closes rejected from that level 2 separate times we went downwards. In order for Bitcoin to continue its upwards trend, we need to be seeing a weekly candle close above that yellow level. That's what will continue the upwards trend. Until we see that, we're not in an upwards trend anymore in the short term. Okay, we're actually in a pretty bad position because what we saw here was a bearish doji candle. So we're in a corrective formation right now. You'd be lying if you said that Bitcoin looked good in the short term. It doesn't look good in the short term. It looks bad in the short term, quite frankly. But that's not indicative of the entire Bitcoin structure. There's reasons for corrections, guys. We know why we saw this correction. It's very easy to see, right? If you look at the daily chart, RSI, just very simply, why did we see this correction? Well, we saw a rejection. We saw a rejection from a daily chart RSI level. Look at that level I just drew in on the daily chart RSI. We rejected from that level. Now, if we rejected from a daily RSI level, it stands to reason that we could be seeing support on a daily RSI level. We find a support line right here. We could be finding support right there, which means we go a little bit lower. Or we can look at, for example, the weekly RSI. Now, it's very important to note that, let me get to a better chart here so I can show you to a bit more depth. In every single cycle, like every single time, even in 2012, which was the first cycle we saw on Bitcoin, we see these major support lines on the weekly chart RSI form. Now, we saw it form in previous cycles, and we see it break. It breaks just before the bull market every single time. Breaks over here in 2012. It never broke in this cycle because we just had so much upwards momentum that it never broke. In fact, we actually formed a new one at a higher angle of trajectory. So what am I looking at for support right now? Well, right now, I'm not really looking too much at price levels. I'm looking more in the weekly candle itself, as I just showed you on the weekly chart, where that candle closes. But I'm looking at the weekly chart RSI, this support level right here, and this one right here. If we drop that level, it's completely normal. We go downwards, we test that one. We want to hold that one. And I'm also looking at the daily chart RSI, as I just showed you. Let me try and get to a daily chart. Yep, daily chart RSI, as I said, this level right here is very important. So I'm actually more focused on RSI diagonal support lines than I am on price levels right now, because we are so close to price discovery and we've seen such a lack of price action in this price region. I don't think the price chart is necessarily as important as something like the RSI. The weekly chart RSI levels, the daily chart RSI levels, and the weekly candle closes in general are really what I'm looking at right now. But right now, I see a situation in which Bitcoin has seen a pretty much unstoppable upwards trend. We've gone upwards since our last correction, 93% without any correction whatsoever. And we've seen a little 12% correction with no real macro basis around it. And it's completely expected. It's from a level that's expected. It's not of a ridiculous size at this point. It could go down lower and it would still be healthy. We're very far away from macro support at 49K. I just don't really see what the bearish argument is right now. I think people need to get used to a little blood, okay? This is what you see in a bull market. You see massive uptrends and then swift and devastating corrections. You need to get used to your portfolio jumping downwards massively, okay? In every single bull market we've ever seen. Look back here, the first leg of the 2020 bull market. Okay, we saw a bull market went upwards and we dropped downwards in a matter of weeks, right? In a matter of like 2 weeks, we dropped down 31% on Bitcoin. That halved every single altcoin's valuation pretty much. Pretty much every single altcoin went down 50% in 2 weeks, okay? But still, they were higher than what they were 3 months ago. So, zoom out, understand where we are, and look, if you want to get out of the market because you're scared of this kind of price action, that's your call. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not here for me to tell you what to do. You just need to understand that this is so typical in bull markets historically. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not telling you what to do. Perhaps you have reason to get out of the market right now. I don't know your personal circumstances. Maybe you know something I don't know about the charts. At the end of it, it's your decision, but you need to understand that this is just an objective fact. Historically, we've always rejected from this level, this previous all-time high level, and historically, altcoins get absolutely decimated on Bitcoin corrections in the bull market, particularly in the first phase. That's just historical facts. So make your own mind up, I guess. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Again, go ahead and check out the VIP group on Telegram. We do altcoin trading signals. Go ahead and check out BingX and BitGet. And then go ahead and check out the Crypto Academy bull market sales on currently there. And again, referral links for BingX and BitGet are down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.